for me, that's why I'm in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, like that, my wife watched it with me for the first time this week, and
oh, really?
We've been saying that line to each other back and forth like all week. Like she thought it was the funniest thing in the world. But like the reason, I mean, similar reasons that I fell in love with it. But like what I want to say is that like part of the main reason I think I really love the Cornetto trilogy, which I don't know if it would be my favorite trilogy, but it's up there. It might be my favorite if I really sat down and thought about it. I'm not sure.
Well, the Encino Man in the Army, Son-in-Law trilogy, the Linkage, the PSCU.
The PCSU is really
outside of that.
Yeah, outside of the PSCU.
Yeah. I mean, everyone knows it. I don't feel bad saying it on this show.
Sure, you're right. I mean, you're just speaking the truth,
Yeah.
But the reason I love the trilogy is because it's kind of what we touched on earlier, where he's able to like make a satire or something clever, like even with Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, like he's satirizing those types of movies. Like he's making fun of zombie movies, he's making fun of buddy action movies, but he also like fully embraces them and loves those genres and makes like really good versions of those movies within that genre. And I think this is, to me, it's kind of the ultimate example of that, with how he's able, classic science fiction is always about like what it means to be human, right? And he's able to really talk about that and address that. It's in that line, I mean, in the movie as well, but I think it really, that line in particular brings it out. And I think to be able to do that while also making something fun and entertaining and unpretentious, but also with a brain and a heart, and it's just all of that coming together. It's really something special, and it's very rare. I don't know any other modern filmmakers who kind of do that the way Edgar Wright's able to do it.
Yeah. Aside from whoever directed the 3 movies in the Pauly Shore.
Of course, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Those not mistaken.
I like Simon Pegg's 3 characters, right? You have Shaun of the Dead. He's stuck in Arrested Development, playing video games with his buddy, underachieving, kind of let's go to the pub. And then you have Hot Fuzz, where he's addicted to work. I mean, that's his life, and he's lost a lot from that. And then in this one, he just wants to reclaim sort of, like, in Shaun of the Dead, he didn't really feel like going anywhere, but you don't think he thought back to glory days. In Hot Fuzz, he's just thinking train, forward. And then in this one, you have a guy who's looking backwards. So the 3 completely different characters. And I like that they aren't just resting on their laurels for this one, for sure.
And I mean, I was going to add Nick Frost as well, in that like he plays very dopey characters for the most part in the first 2 movies, and guys who are just kind of like, there's kind of whatever. But then in this, he's this like buttoned up professional, and it's just like, I loved seeing that other side of Nick Frost, because it was a lot of fun just to see him play against type, because normally he would have been probably the Gary role. Like that's who we would have maybe assumed to be that. And it shows for me that, comedy is so much harder than people make it out to be. Like, it's just like, go be funny, clown, and like that's it. But like, these guys are really good actors, and they're very funny, but they're also able to bring so much humanity to each of those roles, especially the ones you just named, Shaun and Hot Fuzz, and then this. Like, they're outstanding.
These kind of movies are always funnier to me. So like one of my favorite films is Royal Tenenbaums, and there's a tennis scene where Richie Tenenbaum has one sock.
Oh, no.
It's just like he's on the court. Now he's down to one sock. And it's just, so I played tennis growing up in Florida. And so seeing that scene, and just, it was beautiful to me, but it was written. Like they wrote that, like that's a gag. Like, where's his one sock? Where's his shoe? He had 62 unforced errors. That means every single ball that was hit to him, he had an unforced error. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So you watch Edgar Wright, you watch Wes Anderson, even the early Zucker stuff with all their gags and sight gags. That's my favorite kind of humor, where I do love some of the improv stuff that comes out nowadays. But I mean, I find these films much funnier than like a 40-Year-Old Virgin or Knocked Up. Not that I don't think they're funny, but just the whole let's improv until we see what happens. I know I don't really like watching those movies, but I'll watch these again and again, because I don't feel like they just are coming up with it on the spot. I feel like they wrote it, crafted it, made the prop, a very silly prop, and sometimes, and then pulled the gag off.
Right.
And that's I feel really respected as a viewer with these movies, and that's why I like about them.
Yeah, I mean, add in the Musketeers thing, right? Like they reference the 5 Musketeers, the 3 Musketeers at the very beginning. Why wouldn't you want 5? Because then 2 could die and you'd still have 3. That's exactly what happens to them. There's 5 of them, 2 of them get left behind, and there's 3 at the end. Like, again, it's all just like you said, it's well crafted, it's thought out.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, the well crafted and thought out part kind of speaks to like it's also adding layers to the characters. Like it has a purpose within the film other than just to be funny, which they very much are. And I think the Royal Tenenbaums does the same thing. That's another one of my favorite films as well that Justin incorrectly hates. But yeah, I mean, it's just being able to kind of write a character or a scene or some dialogue that has so much meaning in it while also being funny is not easy to do, I don't think. And I think that is, it's just terrific stuff.
Yeah, I like that they used Nick Frost's physicality in this. I remember when Cuban Fury was coming out, I was like, Cuban Fury! I was probably the one person on the planet that was really excited for Cuban Fury. Well, I said Rashida Jones is in it. She's awesome. And it had him dancing, and then it had Chris O'Dowd dancing. It's beautiful. And then I'm a big fan of Into the Badlands when that show was on. I don't know if y'all watched it.
I did,
but
watch it.
It's this bonkers martial arts science fiction film, and Nick Frost was in it, and he does a ton of fighting. And my wife and I went to Dragon Con one year in Atlanta, and we went to one of the panels, and I walked up and I was like, hey, Nick, I was like, I loved you in Here Comes the Boom. And I got like a big laugh across the whole place. And then everyone was just like laughing. And then he laughed too. And I was like, all right, I got nothing better. And then I sat down. I got to tell him that I loved him and Here Comes the Boom.
That's amazing.
You shot your shot.
Yeah, that was, nothing good would have come out after that. Like that was just perfect asking him that. But also, I mean, you know, I kind of loved your reaction to Royal Tenenbaums because I'm really used to that. There's a lot of people who are anti-Wes Anderson. And I get it. Like some people think he's too cute. Some people think he's too precocious. And I understand that. Like the sadness in his films, his early work, Bottle Rocket, Rushmore, Royal Tenenbaums. Like I'm super emo. I come across as like super silly. You know, I'm like a super emo dude who loves Taking Back Sunday, and like I still blare that stuff all the time. But like that really.
That's so funny because we talked about that before, and I grew up on that stuff too. I enjoy that stuff. I'll still listen to it occasionally. And I don't think that's not Pete's bag at all, but Pete loves him some Wes Anderson, and I can't stand him.
I do, and I love him for the same reasons that you said, like the sadness in his, you nailed it, especially his early work. I do think Grand Budapest approaches that a little bit. I think that's probably my second favorite of his. But there's so much underlying sadness in his best stuff that he I mean, even in Darjeeling Limited or those movies I think are.
How did this happen?
They're beautiful.
How are we talking about Wes Anderson on an Edgar Wright podcast? I don't understand. I didn't approve of this.
So I'll swap over. I just want to say in Darjeeling Limited, when they lose their baggage, people are like, that's such an obvious metaphor. But they don't say it. They build it up, and at the end, they throw their baggage behind, and they go. If it was any other director that they liked, if they liked the director, they would be like, that was beautiful.
Right.
That scene where he drinks the water. It's incredible, you know, but they lose their their literal and metaphorical and baggage, and people are like, I hate it. So I gotta support my movie Darjeeling Limited because I dig it.
You guys are right. No one likes Wes Anderson. You're right. You're the only two that are fans.
That's right.
One of my students just bought that big book that Matt Zoller Seitz did for. Yeah, and so he's loving it right now. He's reading through it. I showed him all like the centered shots, and then Kogonada, who studied his films and made Columbus, which is a beautiful little indie. Have you seen Columbus?
I have. That's it's one of my, I watched it during the quarantine. It's a beautiful movie. I love that movie.
Tiny budget, beautiful production design. Just go to a place with great production design and shoot outside of it. Like that's all you got to do. I did art department for a long time. It sucks. I'd rather film in front of beautiful buildings. That'd be great.
He's got another movie coming out that I've been reading about, I think.
With Gyllenhaal.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to come out this year or next year, but it was supposed to come out during the pandemic, and he needs to release that, man. I'm really, really looking forward to that.
I'm going to start doing video essays on his movies.
So I was just going to say, I'll throw in a plug and just say that if you want to hear me and Pete argue for an hour and 25 minutes, we did the Royal Tenenbaums, and that was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. I'll listen to that tonight.
Because I do not like that movie in any way.
And I remember the people I went with did not like it, and I was laughing so hard during it, and they just like that scene where they're going, what, huh, in front of the ATVs, the paintings. I want those in my wall. I want a mural of that. Imagine waking up to those things.
It sounds like you two guys need to go have pizza after this and then go back to Pete's place.
World's End, bringing people together for
talking about Wes Anderson. But no, it's But I guess I like the directors for the same reason, though. Just the gags that they come back to, everything's really well thought out. I mean, Hot Fuzz. I mean, I haven't laughed when I know this sounds really bad, but in Hot Fuzz when he kicks that old lady and then the next shot her nose is all bloody. Like, it's such a brutal moment, but I'm laughing. And
I don't think I've ever laughed harder in a movie theater than when I saw that, because it just comes. It's like he just runs to her and kicks her in the face. It's brutal. I've never laughed harder in a movie theater.
And that's what I like about these cornettos, right? They're R-rated. Like Nick Frost dies in Shaun of the Dead. His mom dies in Shaun of the Dead. People get murdered in it. And Hot Fuzz.
His mom dies in World's End too.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
First he lies about it, then she actually does.
But there's sadness in that. Like, their friends are blanks now. I know their lives went on to better places, but the world shuts down. So I like that Edgar Wright also takes chances, though. I mean, he had some darkness to his movies, and that's really refreshing to me. I dig that about him.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lesser filmmaker just makes this into a just straight action comedy without any of the sadness. And it might be fun, but I don't know that it would be. I wouldn't love it the way I do.
Mm-hmm. All right, real quick before we get out of here, I just want to hear it since you two love these movies. They're making that's gonna sound insane. They're making an American remake of The World's End. Who's getting cast in it?
Oh man, this is what we do on our show.
Yeah, we have a category called Remake This, where we actually...
It's the one I never win, so...
It's the one he never wins.
Whatever we say in these upcoming minutes, listen to Justin, don't listen to me.
I love seeing those on Facebook because, man, what was it the other day? Y'all put up one of them, and I just went, whoa. Like, there were some good choices. I need to look that back up. I didn't even vote because it tore me too much.
We've done some really good ones. I've been really proud of some of the ones that we've been able to put together for sure. For this though, man, this is one of those.
You know who sorry, I'm jumping in real quick.
Do it.
I see as Gary. I see Downey Jr.
Ooh.
I'll let
you settle this.
Maybe it's a different Avenger. I actually would want to see like a sad kind of like. I was gonna say Chris Evans.
Chris Evans is Gary?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
All right, then I'll go with him.
Let me go.
It's because I prepare. That's why.
I mean, I do it in 5 minutes.
I just put y'all on the spot here.
Okay, fine. I'll change it. Different Avenger, Hemsworth, because we saw him as Fat Thor in the Avengers movies at the end, and I could see him being kind of sluggish and sloppy as Gary. I'm gonna go Hemsworth.
Hemsworth. All right. So you got 4 more people to cast. Who else y'all got?
That's not happening.
Yeah.
All right. I'll do it. Oh, you're not gonna cast 4 more people?
We can do it. We can do it. We can go through it. Who else? All right. So who's next? Who do you want to do next? Andy.
I want to see Aubrey Plaza as one of them in here.
Have you seen Black Bear? I highly recommend seeing Black Bear.
Very good movie.
Yeah. All right. Good.
Yeah. I like that one. She went, I couldn't watch it. I had to turn it off the first time because after working on a bunch of film sets, the film set on that movie would look horrible. And the crew is terrible. And I know it's a movie, so like I hate, aside from Bowfinger, because they don't even try, but I hate watching movies about making movies because you're like, aside from like Mank, but you watch them and you're like, no, like I don't even think the camera's on. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
What? That's not how you do a lockup.
What about this is a little film school, Day for Night, the Truffaut film? I like that one.
Oh, I haven't watched that. Day for Night.
That one's pretty good.
All right, I like that. Have you seen 30 Days a Night? That's a great vampire picture.
A long time since I saw that.
All right, so we got Hemsworth.
What about Brian Tyree Henry from Atlanta as Andy?
Because he's fat.
Oh, yeah.
Saying that jerk.
I like that.
I do like that. I think that's good.
But they use his physicality for that role.
Yes, I think that's the important part. They're using. Yeah. I'm with you on that one.
Ooh,
wait,
that's a good one.
You know what? I've decided my whole cast now. Let's just do the Atlanta version of like this. So we got Glover in the lead with Brian Tyree Henry, Lakeith Stanfield as Steven, and like have those 3 at the end together. Come on.
Whoa. And Zazie Beetz, right? Is that?
Yeah, she could be Sam.
I still like having Audrey Plaza in here somewhere.
We could have, Well, I guess one of the friends could be we can switch that around.
Yeah.
He plays like a 45-year-old.
Yeah.